So everybody knows that the new Nexus phone is about to come out. Some people say October, end of October. Some people say November. Now, a bunch of rumors have recently come out stating that the next Nexus phone would actually be made by LG, which is kind of crazy, and I'm assuming a lot of people didn't expect that. A lot of people probably thought the Samsung was going to come out with it. The previous phone was a Samsung one, and the one before that was a Samsung one as well. The Galaxy Nexus, which is the current gen Nexus phone, was a pretty decent phone. The only issues it really had was the camera was sort of bad at 5 megapixels, and initially with Ice Cream Sandwich it had some laggy issues, but with Jellybean it got improved significantly. Now with the new phone coming out, people think that it's going to be based off the LG Optimus G, which is pretty much LG's counter to Samsung's Galaxy S3, which is an amazing phone, and it's one of the fastest phones available right now. So exactly what is the Optimus G going to even offer? It's going to have a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor, so it's pretty good. Very current gen. 4.7-inch true HD-IPS Plus screen with a resolution of 1280 by 768, which is 320 ppi, and 2 gigs of RAM. So it's crazy. And on top of that, it's going to have a 13 megapixel camera, which is insane. I mean, no one other than Sony has offered something crazy like that. And it's going to have a 2100 milliamp battery, which should be good for with LTE, which it should have. I mean, every phone right now has LTE or is going to come out with it, so it's going to be the exact same. The dimensions of the LG Optimus G are going to be 131.9 by 68.9 by 8.4 millimeters, so it's a tiny phone, and it's going to weigh 145 grams. I don't mean tiny as in like physically tiny, but it's going to be thin, and it's going to be pretty good. Now, people think that the new Nexus phone, the one that LG makes, which could be called the LG Optimus Nexus. Currently, LG loves to throw out the Optimus name for their premium devices, so it could be called the Optimus Nexus or the Nexus Optimus, which sounds sort of weird. And it's rumored to be pretty much the exact same thing, quad core, has 4 and everything that the Optimus G has, but a lot of people think it's gonna have an 8 megapixel camera. There was an EXIF that was like retrieved from some picture that was loaded, which people thought was the Optimus Nexus, and it was only 8 megapixels, so it's possible that it's going to be an 8 megapixel camera, but that's still a pretty big upgrade over the 5 megapixel camera that the previous phone had. So the phone should be amazing. 4.7 inches is slightly bigger than the current Galaxy Nexus, which is 4.65. The new phone should have on-screen buttons as well, which is awesome. Once you get used to those, a lot of people say that they generally are better. Now, how is this phone going to compare to what's available right now? Like the S3's out, the iPhone 5's out. The S3 actually has dimensions of 136.6 by 70.6 by 8.6. So the LG Nexus and the Optimus G is actually a smaller phone and thinner, and it has, well, of course it has a smaller screen too, 4.7 versus the 4.8 on the Galaxy S3. And the S3 currently has 1 gig of RAM for the international model, 2 gigs for the North American variant, and it weighs 133 grams. So the Optimus G is actually slightly heavier, and the S3 actually has a slightly lower resolution as well of 1280 by 720. The processor is actually going to be slightly better on the Optimus G. Now, in terms of what Apple has, I'm not really going to talk about the dimensions of the iPhone 5 because everybody knows it's a tiny phone. It can't really be compared to these big Android phones. It has a 1.2 gigahertz A6 dual core processor, so everyone else is moving to quad core. Apple's still kind of stuck on dual core, even though like in North America all the carriers are using dual core on their phones as well. So for North America it's comparable. Internationally though, iPhone 5 might get destroyed by the new Optimus Nexus. So those are the rumors at this point. There was also a rumor earlier in the year saying that the new Nexus phone would be made by 5 different producers. So Sony, ACC, all the big ones. LG was probably going to be included in there as well. It seems like LG won. Some people still think that all 5 Nexus phones are going to come out, but that's probably not going to happen. It just doesn't seem like that would make a lot of money for the other phone manufacturers. If LG did win, that's good for them. Like, they've always made pretty decent hardware. The only problem with those phones were they just had terrible software. It was like TouchWiz, but even worse. So I honestly think the new Nexus phone is going to be awesome. I might pick it up depending on what other people say about it, and we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think of the LG Optimus Nexus, and whether you think you're going to pick it up because and what you think about LG in general. A lot of people don't seem to really like LG, but if it had stock Android, would you guys pick it up? Leave your comments below, and always rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.